Huge is good. Welcome to Biz Dev Live. My name is Cameron Toth, and I am so excited to bring you Stephanie Chapman and Ann Genovesi today. They're going to talk about their two businesses, their partners. Partnership is never an easy thing, and they're going to talk about being a partner in not only one, but two businesses. They're friends, they're comrades in arms in it. We're going to get into all the details. We're going to talk about aging at home. We're going to talk about the uniqueness of their realty business. We're going to talk about following your passion. Biz Dev Live is all about education and making sure that you can succeed and go towards your goals and follow your passion. So this is a perfect episode. We're going to get into all of that and more right after the Biz Dev theme.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
Stephanie and Ann have been friends for almost 40 years. They are more than friends. They are family, as are their husbands and all of their children. They have always done everything together, always felt together. They can accomplish anything. For years, they looked to see how they could go into business together and use their individual expertise, right? Their individual expertise to build something. Our passion for taking care of our fellow man is at the forefront of our psyche. Every day is a new day where we look to serve people and help make their lives more manageable and meaningful. I want to welcome to the show Ann Genovesi and Stephanie Chapman. Thank you for being on the show with me today, ladies. And I'm going to unmute you. Here we go.
Thank you so much. We're very excited to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we've been in circles. We're in master networks together. So we see each other all the time. And I was talking to Stephanie before we jumped on. This is like one of the first times that I've got to be somewhat exclusive with Stephanie on the line. It's funny how we're circling and orbiting worlds and you still don't get a chance to properly talk to someone. So it's exciting. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you.
So I want to make sure everybody knows kind of what you're doing, a little bit more about your businesses. I know I gave a little bit of the bio. There's a lot more to it. I know Lilly Martin Care in particular, the name of that company has special meaning to you. So I wanted to give you guys the chance to talk about that. And the Maris team, your real estate company. I know Ann is chomping at the bit to let us know a little bit more about that. So go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, I mean, like for our businesses, Lilly Martin Care, you know, our nurse, I'm a nurse, Steph's a social worker, and we decided we've always wanted to, like you said, do something together. We've always traveled together. We've known each other since 5th grade, and we always wanted to do business together. We tried a few different things. When we were in high school, we tried a few things that did not work out. We even went and tried to sell cars at one point, which was a disaster. But when we realized that our love for people and our love for taking care of people was at the forefront, that's when we decided to open up our own private home health care company. And it's not an agency, it's a concierge company, which basically means we can help doing whatever the families need. And it's something that is not focused on money, it's not focused on sales, it's only focused on helping those that need help in home, that you can stay home, you can have the proper care at home and not go broke.
That's awesome. All right. And so I want to hear the car story. I want to hear kind of like all of the kind of endeavors into entrepreneurship that it sounds like you guys got into. So Stephanie, tell us a little bit more about this story and how you guys, first of all, why? Right. I think, one of the things, I've had a lot of friends growing up, and I don't know that maybe I had little thoughts and ideas about it, but I never really was like, driven to go through multiple challenges and failures and still come together and not only start one company, but two companies. So I think that why thing and giving us a reason behind all this would be really great.
Yes. Well,
Especially
actually,
our why for our friendship.
actually, we did not start off as friends.
Ugh.
We actually did not like each other at all when we first met. I have to just bring that up because sometimes there's not that instant connection, but in time and as time went on, we slowly started finding that connection and common ground, and we've been besties really ever since. So it didn't start off that way, but it certainly ended up in this fantastic place. And we basically share everything. And in fact, I don't know if Ann mentioned in our bio that yes, we did sell cars at one time, but when we were in high school, we even took a car mechanics class. So our interest in cars goes actually way back to high school. We stayed in the class for about, I think, 1 week, and then we dropped out of it. But anyway, yes, we basically did at one time sell cars. We were looking for ways to just do something together, something fun that we would enjoy. But cars was, it was definitely not our passion. Our passion in time, we realized with the different things that we started that didn't work out, that we really weren't following our passion with those other ideas that we had in the beginning. So it took a little while to kind of focus and what really is our passion, kind of figuring that question of why out. And the why for us was really our own personal backgrounds. And with her father, who died at a young age from a heart condition, and my grandmother, who suffered from Alzheimer's for many years. And that really propelled both of us to really do something in a helping field. How can we help families?
And I know I've read this story. So I believe Lilly was
that was my grandmother, and Martin was Ann's father. So very special humans, very special people. They just, lit the world around them and did so many amazing things and touched so many lives. And we thought to ourselves, how can we serve people and help people who are in situations like this with family members who are struggling with health issues or whatnot, without them going broke, obviously, but help them kind of navigate those, insane times, the unknown, which is very scary for many people who are dealing with dementia or any kind of crisis, kind of flailing about in the world of the unknown and finding answers and finding ways to help those families. Because, getting that stress out, taking those extra layers off their shoulders, taking that burden away from them, really helps them to enjoy, their relationship again with their loved ones.
And shout out to Oscar, who's giving you guys a helping hand here, talking about the helping families find caregivers and caregivers find families, right?
Right. So basically that's how it began. We just wanted to find ways to just help families take that burden off their shoulders. And that's exactly our passion. It just started going from there. So I think that really, if you just follow your passion, you eventually just get those feelings out to others, and people just are naturally, drawn to you. And that's how it all began for us. And it just has taken off since then.
So why have you guys been possessed to have these businesses together? I think a lot of people, the natural path is like, I'm going down my career path, my education, I'm going to start my own thing. I don't want to share and play in the same sandbox as somebody. I get past that stage and now I want to do my own thing. So why have you guys been possessed to kind of work together?
I think Steph and I were born as twins. Honestly, I think we are one person. It's funny. We didn't meet until 5th grade. And like Steph said, she didn't like me. I loved her. I was a very needy, nerdy, weird kid growing up. And, a lot of people thought I was a little bit off the beaten path. But eventually Steph did fall in love with me, thank God. And although I think if we probably were just joined at the hips. And, from the very beginning, we just always wanted to do things together. And we've been through so much ups and downs with our own families and, with our lives. And we're so intertwined with everything that we just want to be together. And I think we work well together. We always want to help the other one with whatever, like when I went to school, Steph helped me. When she went to school, so I think doing that, we just always wanted to be together and realize that together we can accomplish anything better than we could apart.
So talk to us. So you know, after the car selling fiasco, right? All this challenges, right? You finally, you're going through some kind of personal trauma with your grandmother, Stephanie, and then your father. And talk to us a little bit about what those challenges were and where you saw sort of opportunity to help others.
Well, yeah. I mean, for myself personally, in our family, I had a grandmother who suffered from, you know, Alzheimer's for probably over a decade. And I saw the burden on my parents, and I saw my mother, who was dealing a lot of it, you know, a lot of the weight of the caregiving fell on my mother alone. And it was very difficult. So she, you know, at first had my grandmother in, you know, an assisted living place. And then as the disease progressed, it was figuring out what the next step was. For us in our family, it was aging in home. So my parents actually, you know, had my grandmother, you know, moved from the assisted living into their home. And she lived there for really a little over, I think, 10 years. But during those 10 years, it was not easy. There were many, many, you know, trials and tribulations during that time. It was finding good care for my grandmother. It was finding good nursing care and good aides and
talk to me about, because I know this is one of those challenging things, and sort of set this up because I know just a little tiny bit about this world, because my wife, pivoting during the pandemic, had a friend that was taking care of somebody in Scarsdale, and she got pulled into that. And then I was networking with Ann. I was like, well, you know, my wife is doing this if you ever need somebody. And so she's actually working with one of your clients right now. So talk to us about some of the challenges of finding that trustworthy, that right fit kind of person for your loved one.
Right.
So you want me to take that one? So it's good. We kind of go back and forth. So yeah, well, just like we met Teresa, it's, you know, I think from being a nurse for almost 30 years and Steph being a social worker for so many years, we both have known people in our lives that we've worked with or we've come across, knowing that they love taking care of people. And we do not, you know, another reason we started this is we both worked with unethical businesses, unethical people in different agencies, hospitals, real estate, and which is one of the biggest reasons why we did it, both businesses. And our caregivers, we know either personally or someone we personally knows. So like with you, Cameron, we know you really well. So when you told us about your wife, we're like, all right. And then we talk and we do check everybody, and, you know, we make sure it's a good fit for the families. But that's how we really find our caregivers. It's not about just putting a body in the home, you know, which both Steph and I had challenges with years ago with agencies that, you know, with putting an aide in that was paid very little, and they would sit there on their phone. And, you know, my aunt was in bed for 3 days and they never moved her. They never did anything because they were not paid enough. They were not valued. So we try really hard to value all of our caregivers and just kind of take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things, whatever industry you're in, right, you know, if your staff, which, you know, it's a challenging thing, you know, you're talking about a lot of hours. I mean, it's blown me away with the clients that my wife is serving, that for some of these folks, it's almost around the clock. And in other cases, it's around the clock, right? So you got literally somebody sleeping in the house just to make sure that, you know, if somebody needs to get up in the night or if somebody's feeling sick, right? It's an intense job.
Yes, it is. And even for the families that bring aides into the home, it could be a very difficult adjustment for them as well. I mean, you're talking about logistics and having basically a stranger move in with you who's kind of invading your space, taking care of your loved one. There's a lot of adjustments that have to go on. And we're there to kind of pave the way for those adjustments and help and handhold. We do a lot of handholding because families aren't used to that. First of all, they have their loved one living with them. now. So those adjustments in the physical, the actual physical surroundings, finding the right room for them in the house, the apartment, whatnot, then finding space for the aide, and then getting to know the aide. There's a lot of adjustments that go on. So Ann and I are there from beginning, like every step of the way. We're always available, even if it's just for them, families to vent, which they need to do. It's important for them to do a lot of venting. That actually helps you, take some of that stress away. But we're there. We're there just to handhold, to make sure the placement is a good placement. It's a good fit. Kind of like, puzzle pieces. That's what it really is.
Yeah. So what happens, I'm always amazed at my wife's ability to, really get along with people and create relationship. And so she's done a good job with the ladies that you refer her to, not only the mother, who I think this is the first time that she's ever had somebody in her home doing some sort of caretaking. So there's this thing of like, why are you treating me like a child kind of thing? Why can't I be on my own? And I think that when it's done right, it moves from, it's really nice to have some company and have somebody that is helping and taking care of me. It feels good to be taken care of, but getting somebody to move from feeling like you're treating me like a child and I'm somebody that is literally your parent, and then making sure like the other family members are comfortable too. What do you do when that situation isn't working out and there isn't a good match there?
We move them. Sometimes, they may think it's a great fit right in the beginning. We make sure that they get to do an interview with them, sometimes on FaceTime now with COVID, but we make sure that they meet them online. They meet them, talking to them. But even then, once they meet in person, the connection may not be there. So nobody is committed. Nobody is stuck in a situation. Caregiver wise too, there may not be a good connection. So if that happens, we give it time. Sometimes it does take time to acclimate, but if it's not a good fit, then we find somebody else to make the transition better.
Yeah, I know that's challenging. For me, from my hospitality company, Toth Event Staffing, getting clients to actually give me the feedback when they have somebody that isn't the ideal person that's working with them so that I can actually improve the experience going forward can sometimes be challenging. And I found like different techniques, but there's no perfect way. Sometimes people aren't forthcoming with that information. So are there like different ways that you kind of reach out and follow up to get that feedback?
Oh yeah, we're in constant communication. We check in shortly after it starts. The family knows they can reach out to us anytime. We can call. They can call us. We'll make a visit if we need to and try and make things smooth. But yeah, there's always communication, especially in the beginning.
I want to shout out Amy for coming in, and I know Stephanie is popping in and out. She's having challenges with the phone, but we'll get her back in. I want to shout out Amy and Oscar for checking in here. Thanks for watching with us. Good morning, Amy. So I know that you guys are doing this business, checking along. You got this amazing story of how, your own experiences sort of added up to, all right, we see a space where we can actually provide service. You got the one business with Stephanie. How did that end up turning into another business on top of that? Where did real estate come from?
Yeah, I know that's what a lot of people say. Like, what the heck? How did you become? Why are you realtors? Like, and I, never in a million years did Steph or I ever think we would be. But it starts again with the concierge home care company. They, a family that we were taking care of. We were taking care of their grandfather, and we do flight companion also, or travel companion. So they wanted him to come visit them in California. So we flew him out there and he thrived. He did really well. And they decided that they wanted to sell the home here in Rockland, and they didn't know anybody. And we had suggested a few different people to them, and they were like, yeah, but you're a concierge home care company. You said you'll do anything to help us through this journey. Can you guys, become realtors and sell the house? so Steph and I,
and you're like, Of course.
Well, I said to Steph, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sell houses. Like, I have to go back to school. I don't want to take any tests. Like, that's the greatest thing with nursing. You don't have to take your boards all the time. But we did it. Steph and I went back and we got our real estate licenses in 1 month, actually. We went and did it, and we, from there learned everything, and we joined Keller Williams, which is an amazing company. And then we joined Naftali Maris's team. So we're with him now, and it's still all about helping people. There were a couple of times that we both were like, forget it. We're not staying there. People can be such horrible people. And then we thought, you know what? We have to stay doing this because we're the good guys. So we need to do it together. The other unusual thing is, which people don't understand, is we are one agent. Real estate agents want their commission. It's there, and it's a small commission, but they want that whole thing. With Steph and I, we get the one commission and split it. So it's not like they're getting two different agents. So I think that's a really unique thing with us, because most people don't do that. So that's why we, I don't know. Steph, you want to talk more about the real estate? That's kind of why we do it, because we kind of do it together.
Right. I mean, the real estate really kind of happened very organically. Basically, we had, someone that we were caregiving for, and the children asked us, their elderly parent could not keep the home. They were flying that parent across the country. And they didn't know, the first thing. They lived across the country. They needed to sell the home. They didn't know what to do. They said to us, can you sell the home? Can we sell the home for them? We didn't even have our licenses. But they said, but you could do this. You can do this. You do everything. You're a concierge. You should be able to sell the home too. And then we realized there was a need for this as well. There was absolutely a need for this as well. So we went into real estate. We just dove right in. We took a class that was supposed to be a year-long online that we did in 1 month's time. Wow. We did it. We took the test. We passed. That was it. We went full throttle. And then we realized there really was not only just this family, but many families that were in the same crisis of having now to sell a home, but the family didn't live in the area, so they didn't know any real estate agents. There's definitely a niche for this, and we just went full throttle into that as well. And that's what began.
I know Ann and I talked before we jumped on here about this idea of this kind of niche service, and Amy Cannock says, I wondered how the businesses were related. Amazing story. And it is, it's amazing. And I love the fact that the client talked you into becoming realtors. That's fantastic. So talk to us about some of the differences in working with you, because I know we were talking about kind of, all right, so you need aid service and this whole idea of concierge, right? And the adjustment period, right? Because you really are dealing with a unique subset of services. If I go to my local realtor, they're going to show me around to some houses. I've never bought a house. I'm working on that. So maybe you guys can help me out down the line. But, in theory, they walk you through the process. You get connected with the mortgage broker, you get your stuff approved, you do the whole clearing thing, which is a whole process that can take sometimes a month, sometimes 2 months. I know the challenges with that. And then you've sold your home or bought your home, and then you're moving, right? And the realtor doesn't really have anything to do with a lot of the other stuff, right? They just close in the house, collect their commission. Maybe they check in with you afterwards if you're lucky, right?
Right. I mean, we wanted to make that experience different as well. We didn't want it to be just like, treat them and street them, we call them, even in real estate, which is a big issue in the real estate industry. Real estate agents just come in, they want that paycheck at the end of the day. For us, it wasn't about that. It really was never about the paycheck. And to this day, it's still not about the paycheck. It's about the relationships that we build with people and, bridging those gaps. And in real estate, there are many gaps. There's a lot of, unethical things that go on in this business. And just a lot of, things that people kind of look the other way toward. And we didn't want to be that. We wanted to create a space where people could trust us, where we can help them, and where we could both, gain from just the actual relationship building. Nothing about money for us. Of course, it's always a nice perk at the end, but it's. Yeah,
I wanted to mention two things, because one thing that you guys are going back to continue with, which is really important, and it's interesting that now there's like courses in school about ethics and morals in business, right? We've seen,
Yes.
the headlines over the last 20 years, everything from, Enron of yesteryear to, Facebook privacy and monopoly and, testosterone at Uber and all of the crazy practices of accounts at Wells Fargo. You get an account, you get 40 accounts, right? All that kind of stuff, right? And then there's the idea, I was just talking about this yesterday with Lindy Chapman, I think same last name, not related to Stephanie Chapman, but Lindy Chapman, who's also popular on LinkedIn and does a whole relocation talk, which is a whole another niche industry. So I think you guys, finding this industry of kind of elder cells and dealing with that kind of thing is a great thing. And I think it's really important for anybody that's going into business to find the place where they really service. I was talking to a younger person that's in financial planning the other day, and I said, "Who's your ideal customer?" And she's like, "Well, really anybody." And I was like, "Really? I don't know that anybody is your client." I think, maybe she had a picture behind her. You guys probably know who I'm talking about. She has a picture behind her of the little girl statue facing the New York Stock Exchange, and
Yeah.
she's somebody that is definitely empowering for females. I say, maybe your ideal client is 20 to 40, somebody that's entrepreneurial or climbing the corporate ladder, and obviously you get a man, you get somebody whatever over here, that's great, but the person that you should be focusing on is that. And so you guys have your niche, so which I think is really important, and that's sort of one piece. The ethics and moral kind of thing that you kind of keep going back to, which I think is so important for businesses to sort of differentiate themselves and niche themselves out that way, which I think you're doing a great job in terms of our discussion here. But then also this whole other third point, which usually gets in the way of niche and moral and ethics, which is we got to make a profit, right? We got to, in order to stay in business, you got to make money. So how do you balance all of those things out? You have two separate businesses, which I imagine there's some crossover in customers, but there's a lot of challenges to actually making profit at the end of the day, staying on point and on message with what you're doing and being respectful of the ethics and morals. I know I'm laying out a lot here, but I think it's a relevant conversation.
No, it's true. And, the hardest thing for Steph and I is the money part, is the discussion on money, is the asking for money. But right up front, we speak to the families about that in both instances. And we discuss what they think is fair, what we think is fair, because it has to be fair for the families, the caregivers, both, not just one. And I think that as far as that goes with the profit, yeah, we're in this to make money. But we're in this, really, it's not all about making the money. We want to be there to help the people. We're not the realtors that want every single listing out there. I mean, of course, we want to help people buy and sell and invest, but we're not those, give me your listing and, let's get this and let's do that. And, it's funny, the one thing I do want to say with real estate is I think because of the way we are, and Steph especially, her passion is writing. She is a creative writer. That is her passion. And I don't know if you saw, I don't know if you've seen, she wrote, we are selling a house now that has a grand piano in one of the rooms. And she wrote the most amazing story about this piano. And it just goes to show it's, we're not your typical realtors. There's something there that really gives us the passion. And Steph is able to get that across by writing about something. So, again, I know we didn't speak much about the profit, but because we hate that part.
It's very uncomfortable for both of us. Although we do have to deal with it, it is uncomfortable just because we're like, yuck. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we do need to earn a living ourselves and pay our bills. But we just feel like if we give everything that we're supposed to do on our end, it becomes fair for both us and them. If we come through on our end and do everything and go above and beyond, then we feel good at the end of the day when we do collect that paycheck.
Right.
It's something that we worked hard for. It's something that we earned, and we actually wouldn't take it if we didn't feel like we were doing everything in our power.
Right.
So we wouldn't, and we both agreed on that early on.
Right. And our husbands make sure we stay on top of the profit too.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those things because you service a population that is always, I mean, no matter what decade we're in, there's going to be a story almost guaranteed that somebody is taking advantage of seniors, right? This is a very at-risk population for so many things. The last year has been crazy, right? With this pandemic, with the senior homes that I'm in touch with through Toth event staffing, I know populations have been decimated. The ability for families to see each other. And then you add in this other layer of people just wanting to scam this population left and right because people are at the end of their investment lifestyles, which means they're in a lot of times profit rich or bank, that has some money in it. And they're maybe gullible or susceptible to challenges because of the reality of their situation, right? So in creating your business and making it something that's worthwhile for you guys to do, setting up the profit motive and letting people understand why you're in it and what you're doing, I know that sets you apart. But in terms of your partnership, because I think this is going to be big for people that are listening, how do you guys work this out? You said yourself, you share commissions on the property. So how do you make this work? You're working on two businesses. I'm working a lot of times now, as we've gotten into 2020, I've started this other business with BizDev Live. But really, because Toth event staffing has been sort of dormant, I don't know what 2021 is going to be for me with Toth event staffing kickstarting up, and I'm trying to get ready for it, but I'm going to be in the midst of two businesses. I know one business, when we're firing on all gears, for myself, my VP of operations, the staff we have, overwhelms us at times. How do you guys stay on top of these two businesses and make sure that it's equitable between the both of you?
Well, first of all, everything is 50-50. That's right up front. Like when we did this, we said that everything is going to be split 50-50, no matter what. Even if one is doing more on one end than the other, because it is two businesses. So sometimes one of us has to be doing this while the other's doing more of that. There's a lot of that goes on. Doesn't matter because we're both doing. So we just know that right off the bat, it's going to be a 50-50 split. Makes things very easy that way.
Yeah. And I think too with that, because of who we are, 50-50, we're a team. So, there are days where, for an example, it's Christmas Eve in 2 days and somebody wants to see homes. So Steph can take them. If someone wants to see home during the middle of Passover, I'll take them. Like it's 50-50. We may not always be together, but we're always there. There are phone calls.
And I just want to clarify because I to see a home. So for the real estate side, so right now, when are people going to see homes on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
Yeah. People can. Thanksgiving, yeah. Well, no, I don't know about Christmas Day itself, but there could be. I mean, Christmas Eve, yes, for sure. Because, I know me growing up, we didn't celebrate Christmas Eve at all.
I mean, there's a lot of, there's people in the population that celebrate different holidays and people that work on those holidays. It's just the way it is. In a hospital, people are there on Christmas. Doctors are working. So believe it or not, the industry is still open for people and people.
Well, the surprise to me is because you got the two businesses, and I didn't even think about this, but this is another challenge, right? So you got the home care, which I imagine the challenge during the next couple of days for everybody that does celebrate Christmas or doesn't celebrate Christmas. You got the dual challenge of, okay, maybe you need care on these holidays. And then you have the added challenge of, does the staff that would normally be taking care of them want to be there on these holidays? So the challenge of figuring out that whole beast.
As caregivers, though, when you go into that medical field,
they're signing up for that.
You're 24/7.
They're signing up for that. They're working.
Yeah, you're choosing a holiday. Families, it doesn't matter what the holiday is, you become part of that family usually. And if the people need help, just like the hospitals are open 24/7, doesn't matter. And on that end, I do want to also mention, Steph and I are also, we're not just in home. Sometimes, especially now with COVID, people can't see their families in assisted livings, in their nursing homes. We can go in there. Our aides can go in. they can do whatever they need to assure the families that they're there. You know, and it's tough. You know, people don't realize, you know, it's not just Hanukkah, Christmas, there's Kwanzaa. This time of year, there's a lot of things that are going on that people, you know, every day is another day of work. Some people are atheists and
All right,
celebrate.
so now we've laid out all these challenges. I still don't know how you guys handle all this. Like, how do you manage the families, manage the husbands? You know, I'm another child from my wife, so you're dealing with that, and then you're also managing these two businesses. Now, is there anything that you guys do to sort of offload this onto other team members, or kind of divvy out this work, or is it all you guys just being nuts and crazy, just working in this every day?
I mean, it's pretty much both of us, but you know, we do have our downtime as well. So, you know, as long as you have an organized system, which we have, you know, we're both very, very, very organized. So as long as you have a system that is organized and that works, then we have our downtime as well.
And how did you guys figure out the system that works for you? So how do you guys organize your time? Because you got both of these businesses. Are they financially apart, or are they all under one umbrella? And then, you know, in terms of the activities that you're doing, I know, you know, one person might be doing more in this business one day and that sort of thing, but how do you guys kind of map that out and make sure that you guys are being equitable to each other?
They're definitely separate businesses. They're completely separate. So we do it totally separate.
Right.
They're completely separate industries. So that's you know, first and foremost.
And we both share, like Steph will make certain calls, I'll make certain calls. So, you know, we both share everything. So we know each day, okay, we have Excel sheets that are set up so that we know what are we doing today, who are we calling, okay, you do that, and then we have a conference and we make sure that we are on task with both businesses.
With your personalities, is there like one thing that Stephanie will always handle because her personality is better fitted to that, and there's something that you'll always handle because your personality is better fitted to that, Ann?
I think we're the same.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're so similar. We really are. We are so similar. I think that's why I'm saying we're like identical twins.
I mean, I think the reason, you know, Ann being a nurse, myself, a social worker, it's just in our nature to connect with people. We're both people connectors, and there's not one of us, I think I think we're both the same with it. I really, really do.
So that's kind of wild. And I think that's some sort of unique bond and relationship that you guys have. I've seen the yin yang kind of work really well. I love Barbara Corcoran's. I don't know if you're familiar with Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, right? She talks about her story and in setting up her, real estate company, that she found somebody that was like the organizer and the financial person. She went out and did the creativity and the sales, that sort of thing. And so they met in the middle that way. What is your advice to people that come to you and say, well, you know, I'm thinking of partnering with this person and I want to start this company up. What do you think? What do you say to those folks? I stunned you. Everybody's speechless.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is you have to have complete and like transparency and honesty, and basically know. Can I have the plug? Basically know that you would die for each other. I mean, Steph and I have a thing: ride or die.
Ride or die.
Yeah. No matter what. It's all about, you have to have a partner, I think, that you know will be okay. You have to have that. It's not about, you know, people have said that to us. Well, don't you need to sign papers, and don't you need to do this? And what happens if this? And we're like, doesn't matter. We are ride or die. It is 50-50. If I die, Rob, Steph's husband gets along, like everybody, we are family. So,
I mean, even when we started our LLC and we were speaking to someone about it that was helping us with that, an attorney, and he said, you know, you have to have a, what do you call it? Some sort of
operating agreement.
Operating agreement. See, I don't even know.
I'm like, no.
Like, what is that? We don't even need that. And he's like, well, you know, usually people do it and they're very, you know, intricate and blah, blah, blah. And we just said this, you know, we are ride or die. So he made that probably the most simple operating agreement in ever, because it was maybe
well, you know what, the interesting thing though I'm hearing from that story though is that you guys thought through this, were actually engaged, had the conversation, and still put something in writing, which I got to say is probably a lot farther than a lot of other partnerships have gone, which is the reason that maybe you guys are finding some magic in this, because even with that relationship that you have, you're still doing some of the right steps and making sure that you dot the I's and cross the T's, because
Right.
I think that's, even with, our business, my wife is sort of a silent partner in Toth event staffing. She doesn't like to be in front of the camera at all. It's not her thing. But we have it down in writing, and there's a plan. And I see so many businesses that, they really don't have a plan for what happens next or what happens if, and that's such a big deal because it lends itself to the trust and the ride or die ish of the relationship. I love that you guys have that going on. And I also really love the idea that you guys are like, what hell may come, and this is what it is. And I think whether you're talking about a business partnership or a marriage or a great friendship, that's sort of a really important feature. That trust needs to be there. That's certainly what I talk about to people, whether they're, by the way, getting married or entering a business relationship, because I think trust is really it. If you don't have that trust, why are you going down this road?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. That's the key. And honestly, we were not going to have an operating agreement if we weren't pretty much forced into doing it, because it's important for an LLC. It was something that he stressed to us was really important to have. We would not have even done that. Literally, I think it was, like I said, a paragraph long. So trust really is, I think, the main ingredient in partnerships. It is. And if you don't trust your partner, you shouldn't be in a partnership with them. I mean,
and one of the other big pieces of advice that I always give people, especially starting business, this has been my own experience from starting my own company 9 years ago, was make sure that you are operating under an LLC or S Corp, and making sure that you have that piece there together, which I think is just incredibly smart. So whoever was the folks advising you and talking you guys into that, kudos to them, because I think that's something that, again, is a big differentiator for any small business, particularly, but any business. The idea that it's official, you got the tax benefits, you have the protections. You guys are in especially challenging roles with both the real estate side and the elder care situation, that concierge service dealing with seniors. If anything goes wrong, you're in very personal, very difficult, and potentially litigious types of situations where you're likely to become into a lawsuit. I don't know if anything like that has happened. When did you guys open up your Lilly Martin Care company?
We've been doing it a long time, but officially, I guess almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And has there been anything that's come up from a legal or financial kind of thing that has?
Thank God, no.
Nope.
But that was important for us to do the LLC for that reason.
Yeah.
I think also because, my father's a tax accountant, a retired tax accountant. And, he really stressed the importance of Ann and I having protections, just in case, God forbid, anything did happen, that we were protected. There was a wall, a shield, something to protect us. And that's why we did it. So, and I think it was the best thing to do when you own your own business. It's important to do, to have those safety precautions. And,
and it's important to the families to know that we have that. It's important, that one of the first things they ask us is, you guys, you have a license. You're really, yes, we do have a license. We're not
legit, right?
But we are covered. We are, we all are covered. So, I think that's one of the first things that the caregivers and families ask us, to make sure we're not fooling around. We're not just
like,
willy-nilly. Yeah. Here, I'll send a person here. I'll send a person there. We're not that.
Fly by the night, people, fly by the seat of our pants.
Right.
This is a very organized business. Both of them are very organized businesses, and very, we do everything like really top tier. We want to make sure that our ethics are and our morals, that is number one.
Right.
Our standards are very high.
But it's probably a good thing for the people we take care of, but we will do things that we probably don't have to do. For example, when we were selling a home, we would go in every week and we would help clean the house and stage the house and, make sure that it was ready for people to see. We would help pack people up and make sure that, they are ready to leave. We'll try to do, which Yeah, it's probably a little bit above and beyond. And sometimes we're like, oh my gosh. But that's one of the things you'll get when you sign up with us. You kind of get stuck with us as your family forever.
Yeah, we always warn people.
Yeah.
For good or for bad, for better or
Yeah,
for worse. It really is
that's
like
right.
a marriage.
I know that you guys both do a fair amount of networking. You talked about the organization of your schedule. So talk to us, because I think this is again helpful to entrepreneurs and small businesses that would be watching this. But how do you organize your schedule and split that kind of stuff up so that you're reaching out? Obviously, real estate and Lilly Martin Care, in terms of the concierge service of reaching other elders, there's a lot of word of mouth that needs to be created, and you guys are out and trying to produce income and bring the clients in. So how do you effectively network? What are the strategies that have really worked for you, and how do you guys sort of divide that up?
Well, we do the network. We do a lot of networking. We also do a lot of social media. So we do a little bit of, I think, both. Would you say so, Ann? That like it's a little bit of both?
Yeah. We do both. I mean, for the most part, I am not as creative as Steph. She's much more creative. So she handles a lot more of the marketing, like social media, Instagram, especially on the real estate side. We do everything together, but she really, and then the Lilly Martin side, we kind of took the reins and then we both are together doing it. So I'm not as creative. So Steph really is more of the social media person. She's much better at it than I am.
Right, so this we're getting finally to that answer of like what's one person a little bit more good at than the other, and I think we've touched on that, and I definitely noticed a little bit of that from the different profiles I saw when at least from just the 30,000 foot view when I was researching for the episode.
I'm trying to be better
on the real estate side.
Yeah, she's definitely much better. Yeah.
More Ann on the Lilly Martin Care side. That's what I noticed. Yeah.
And then, for networking, we both love networking. We both go to different meetings. We go together. We'll go separately. It all depends on, that's where team comes in. If one can't do it, the other one does. And we don't have any set thing that, Ann always does this and Steph always does that. We just kind of take it as the days come and say, okay, if we can do it, we'll do it. If we can't, we can't.
Right.
I love that. So talk to us about what has been an effective networking strategies. Where have you seen the most sort of, you get the most value from it and the most return on investment?
Probably word of mouth. I think that's really, once people get to know you, right, Steph? I think that's really word of mouth.
Yeah. I mean, we're part of Master Networkers, which is fabulous. We've met incredible people, wonderful people. They've brought a lot of value into our lives. I hope we bring that into their lives. But really, once people get to know us, Ann is right. It really becomes word of mouth, which to us is the greatest. Recommendations, just personal recommendations, is just the greatest way that our name gets out there. It's the greatest thank you to us is when people recommend us. We know we've done our job. So I mean, we do formal networking groups. We also do a lot of informal stuff. Ann and I just love being with people and meeting people and sharing what we have to share and sharing our knowledge. And even if it doesn't mean, like I said, even if it doesn't mean a paycheck at the end of the day, that's okay. As long as we shared our knowledge and we feel like we're helping people, we've done our job.
That's awesome. And just talking about the last 8 months, because I know we've been in Master Networks together in a lot of meetings. Has there been a big difference from the way you guys are running your businesses, 2019 versus 2020?
Yes. We have to wear masks now.
Yeah.
And we were in the bank. We were in the bank the other day, and I had I think a bandana around my face. I think Ann had a mask. So who would have thought in 2020 that would be okay? We wouldn't be.
Right. The feeling of like I'm walking in to pilfer this institution as I throw up my mask as I enter the bank. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
What other year in the beginning of time could you walk into a bank with a mask on and not get arrested? So it's definitely different this year. We do have to have a lot more. We do things, a lot more steps that have to be taken, a lot more. Whether it's mask wearing, when we go and do like even COVID tests with people, we have to do things like outdoors, which we've never done before in the middle of winter time. It's just a lot of that kind of stuff. So yes, it's definitely different. And we have to change with, the changing of times. And obviously right now, the year 2020 is a very strange, weird time right now that we're dealing with. But we change with the times and we accommodate, and we want to make it as safe as it can be for our clients that we serve. So we do everything above and beyond to make sure that their safety comes first.
Yeah, it's very hard knowing that we can't hug people, especially
But we're huggers. We're guilty. We're big huggers.
And you really, it's hard. You can't. And sometimes someone's crying there in front of you and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to, but we take all the precautions we have to. And in real estate too, we make sure we do all our COVID forms that we have to do. And, it's definitely different. But I will say, and I think most of us, I think most of us that have pivoted or changed, it's also, there's a lot of positive that's come out of this COVID season. We wouldn't have met probably half the people that we've met if it weren't for COVID. Because on Zoom now, being able to network all these different groups, we wouldn't be driving to all these places.
Right. Exactly. Logistically, it would have been impossible to do two businesses, go to all these networking events, do these things. Logistically, it just would not have panned out. So we try to always find the positives.
That's
doing
amazing.
A lot of virtual stuff.
So what do you think 2021 is going to look like for your business in terms of, what's going on now with all the virtual networking, what your two businesses are going on? What does the future have in store for both Lilly Martin Care and the Maris team?
We're going to go big or go home. No, I think in general, we are just going to keep moving on. The care is there. I think people have realized, more people than not are afraid to put their family into hospitals, into homes. So I think that, there's a lot more people that want to stay home and need the care in home and are learning that it is doable. And I think with real estate as well, it's right, Steph. It's the same thing with the real estate. It's,
I think that a lot of people were probably very scared at first when the pandemic first started with real estate. They were shying away from either buying, selling, and investing. But, New York State has made it such that we take the highest, precautions to make it as a safe industry as it could possibly be. Obviously, going into people's homes, bringing strangers throughout your home during COVID is not a comfortable situation. So we really take those steps to be extra careful. And we just hope that our business grows and people see how we relate to people, how we connect to people, how our standards are so incredibly high, probably higher than most, I will say, because we really do go above and beyond. And we just hope that our business in 2021 will just keep growing as people see our standards, get to know us more, and our name is out there.
I appreciate that a lot. I think that's going to be a big deal. What about the networking thing? Are you guys going to focus? I know it's hard to tell what's going to happen, 7 months from now when hopefully, right, we're in a much better place in terms of vaccinations and herd immunity. And, I know I just got a letter from my children's school talking about the possibility of, graduations happening where people are together. What do you think your networking mix now is? I know that a lot of people are thinking about, this idea of, wow, it's nice to be able to visit all these different places and network virtually. Is this something that you think you're going to keep in the mix, or are you going to move more back to, or push to move more back to physical in-person networking?
I think that staying virtually is great. I think even if we can go back together, I think it needs to stay hybrid because people are busy. People are busy in their lives, and the networking part is a really important part of businesses. And if you have to go in person to places, people are not going to do it as often, I feel, and won't meet as many people because they're too busy driving. You drive a half hour, you drive 20 minutes, and then you got to go somewhere else. Whereas when you're doing hybrid, when you're on virtual, you're able to do it. You're able to just stop what you're doing, click on wherever you are. Even in the car, I've seen people doing it. They pull over and they do the meeting for an hour.
Yes. I definitely see us doing a lot of the virtual stuff still, even after this passes, is maintaining the, a lot of the virtual stuff that we do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. I was on an online virtual meeting last night. And I think, the plus is you don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to get, figure out all the logistics. If you've got kids in the house, who's going to take care of, all this kind of stuff. Then the other side of it is we were talking about, well, usually people would arrive early to the meeting and we would have all these conversations. So you have like something like a Toastmasters, which is what I was doing last night. And you have the conversation that happens before and the conversation that happens after that leads to so many great things. So I think it's going to be a really crazy balance between the value of doing it virtually and the value of doing it live, and how do you get that proper mix. And then this whole hybrid concept, which I'm excited about with our Master Networks chapter in Mount Pleasant, figuring out, all right, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that really prefer the in-person meeting, but making it welcoming to not only the folks that want to join remotely, because, literally you could join from Florida, Texas, Africa, right? You can really makes the meetings more accessible. And for businesses, for a lot of our businesses, right? Whether it's, purchasing real estate from outside the country or some online service. Amy's commenting on here, and she sells jewelry, so she can sell jewelry to anybody anywhere in the world. So opening things up to where we can do business with other folks. And I think, there's probably a lot of people that would love to know more about how to be partners in business. So, offering that course online and doing that globally. Amy says, I'm working on jewelry orders as I listen today. Right?
And I do think, though, I do want to also say, I think Steph and I both feel the same. It's important to be in person also every so often, and even with the networking, it is nice to be able to be in person and see people and talk with people. And sometimes you can do it on a smaller level. Like we've gone out to lunch with people and did a social distance, small gathering, with one other person. So I think that's also still important to do with precautions.
Right. I agree.
So I'm going to kind of give you guys the last word here. I want you to kind of leave your closing statements. I want you to let people know where they can find you for both companies, right? So whether they're looking for Lilly Martin Care to help with a loved one that needs that care, or they're looking to do something with their real estate, buying or selling, relocating someone that they love. Talk to us how we can reach those. I know I have your LinkedIn profiles down below on YouTube and off to the side on Facebook, but let everybody know where they can find you, and give us whatever your last words of wisdom on putting a business together. I think that'll be very helpful to folks, and then I will play us off with the biz dev thing.
Okay. Well, my main thing is follow your passion, follow your dreams, do something you love. If it's not exactly what you love, find a way to do it to love it. Does that make sense? And you can find us anywhere. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Alignable. Call us.
Yeah. And I think also a takeaway is if you're going to have a partnership, to have that trust. I think that's what makes Ann and I able to work really 365 days a year. That means we work on Hanukkah, we work on Christmas, we work every day, whether it's real estate, whether it's healthcare, we're there for you. And our partnership allows us to do that, to be there for all those holidays. We don't take off, we just keep on going. And, we want people to just know that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about being transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a phone call away.
We're really a phone call away.
All right,
or a
ladies,
text away.
Ladies, so just identify websites one time, just to make sure that's on the program, on the recording, and okay, if there's any particular social media profile and how it's spelled out, so they can do it, and then say goodbye, and I will play us.
Oh, okay. So LillyMartinCare.com is our website. Our phone number is on the website. And then Instagram, our real estate is, Steph, what's our real estate one?
We are at Real Estate Hub. So
New York.
Is, right. Real estate, New York Real Estate Hub. I'm sorry. For some reason, the sound is a little bit, it's my
we're a little broken up.
A little bit, yeah.
I think it's called at NY Real Estate Hub.
New York Real Estate Hub. Exactly. .com.
Those are our websites.
There. We're also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are all over.
Anything else? Oh, Cameron.
I was trying to find the website, but I couldn't do it. So we got to work on that piece of the pitch. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Bye. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.